What's up guys, this is Nightwing2303 from WearTesters.com.
My name is Jaren and my channel is named Durant.
And today we're going to be going over basically our top everything for 2014. So as you guys saw already, we had published our top 10 performance models, or they were actually my personal picks for 2014. And then usually what we'll do is post a video showcasing what our top pickups were or favorite pickups and so on and so forth. But instead of doing that, we're going to do something a little bit different. Jaren's going to pop up with some questions, and then both of us are going to just kind of discuss them, and there are going to be our favorites of 2014, whether it be performance related or not. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it.
Alright, so 2014 was a great year for sneakers, and WearTesters, our main core is performance sneakers. So let me just start off by asking you, what was your personal favorite performing shoe of the year?
So if you guys saw my personal top 10 of 2014, you already know it was definitely it could be between this shoe or the 29, but it for me has to be overall the Clutch Fit Drive. The reason being is that the traction and the cushion are just A1. The fit is supportive but not restrictive, and then you really can't beat the price point. These things start at $125, and certain colorways, maybe even this one here, is already discounted well below that. And you know, for $125 and you get top of line performance, there's really nothing to complain about.
I absolutely agree with your pick. I mean, I haven't personally played in the Clutch Fit, but Under Armour has the best value out of all the companies in my opinion right now. For $125 for an unofficial signature, that's basically, when you see that shoe, you think of Steph Curry, and that's just great. Michael G is my favorite foam setup ever, and I agree with your pick, but for me it's the Jordan 29. So for me, when I play in my league games, I look at my duffel bag and I have about 4 sneakers in there, and for some reason I just always come back to the 29. I just think that the 4-foot cushion setup is perfect for a player like myself, and the performance woven upper is a game changer, and it's just the most comfortable shoe of the year for me personally, and I just can't get out of the 29. When I need a go-to sneaker just to play basketball and not really think about it, I go for the 29. So this is my personal favorite performance shoe of the year. So as WearTesters, we go through a lot of sneakers, and in this world today where we know when everything's releasing, we have a lot of expectations and anticipations for sneakers. But I want to know, Chris, what was your most surprising performance shoe of the year?
Personally, it was probably the Prime Hype DF. This is a low budget model from Nike, and I've played in plenty of low budget models from any brand, and especially with Nike, no knock on them, but most of the time their low budget options means that they have low tech in the shoe as well. So it's basically like a stripped down bare minimums type of shoe, and the Prime Hype, for its price point, being a low budget model, I think it was $90 retail. It had a full-length cushion system. Granted, it was only Phylon, but it is a dual-density Phylon, which is super comfortable. And then they had traction that was better than the Hyperdunk. And then the upper was pretty much what you'd already expect from Nike. A lot of fuse, a lot of synthetics, ventilation, things like that. So, and that's something that we're seeing on almost every team model nowadays. So to get almost something that is, you know, brought to you with the Hyperdunk, but then taken a step back at least by like what, 40-50 bucks.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of crazy. So and again, it was a shoe where it was given to me. I didn't have any expectations for the shoe. I wasn't even planning on, you know, wear testing them or anything, and they just kind of fell in my lap, and it turns out to be a really good shoe. Everybody that has hit me up about that shoe, actually, that's bought them, has absolutely loved them. So, and that's a really cool thing, because like I said, their retail is under $100, and I think certain colorways are already discounted because those things really don't move. So you'll probably see them at like outlets and things like that soon. That's
great to hear, because I think that we wouldn't really have this job or a hobby, you could say, if people weren't worried about value and price. People want to get the most for their dollar, and some people don't have $150, $160, even $200 to pay for the top of the line sneakers, but they still want that really good performance attributes that a sneaker can give you that those expensive ones do. So to see the Prime Hype give you good performance with the great value is something that I really like to see. But for me, the most surprising shoe as far as performance go for the year is the LeBron 12.
This is actually an almost, like, because I was not even wanting to play in this shoe, and it surprised the hell out of me. Made my top 10. So I agree with this for sure.
For me, as far as the LeBron line goes, actually getting on court with them, it never really worked out for me. They were way too supportive. They were just too much. I felt like they were too much catered towards a player like LeBron, which is something Chris and I are not. But the LeBron 12 really surprised me. I feel like anyone could step in his shoe, number 1 through 5, and be happy with the results. I just think that the Mega Fuse is really, really nice. I really enjoyed it. The cushion setup wasn't anything too crazy, but it was just enough for me to where I really liked the overall performance of the LeBron 12. So the LeBron 12 is something that I could definitely see myself getting back on the court with it, and that's the most surprising shoe of the year for me.
Yeah, the cushion setup on these guys actually felt more like a lightweight player.
Definitely.
Felt like it was catered towards guards more than a LeBron. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and it's interesting because how LeBron's playing this season is not really how you can play in this shoe. He's a little bit more grounded. Yeah. He I don't want to say lazy, but he's a little more passive, which is weird because this shoe, like Chris just said, it feels like it's catered towards a guard, an explosive guard at that. So
yeah.
The LeBron 12, really good job by Nike Basketball this year.
Maybe after All-Star, we'll see LeBron be LeBron.
Yeah, maybe he's saving his legs. You know, he's being smart. He's getting older.
Which sucks.
All right, so we talked about the good. Let's go to the bad. I want to know what the most disappointing performance sneaker of the year was for you, Chris.
My initial first thought goes towards these guys right here, but because they are labeled as a Nike sportswear shoe, they, for their own good, don't count. But these guys right here were awful, and it really sucks because I really want to like this shoe. You know, these types of shoes, the Wade line specifically, reminds me a lot of being a kid. It reminds me of all of these shoes that are up here, which, but with the quality that all of these shoes were supposed to have had, which originally had back when they first had their run, which I think is awesome. And then they have all of this opportunity with today's modern tech. They fixed the traction from what they used with the Wade 2 from last year and things like that, but they fell short on their execution of design. This midsole design here, it just does not work, especially in the arch. I don't see how anybody wear tested this and approved it for the company to say like, yo, this is an amazing shoe, we should put this out in the public. I don't see how that even happened, because you know, one good cut in these, I mean, you saw me the first couple nights and I was just in pain and I was complaining the whole time, and I typically won't complain unless somebody asks me like how I'm feeling about them. I'll be like, oh, they're okay or whatever, but I was out loud complaining like, yo, my feet are killing me, man.
That's true.
So and I was hoping that they just needed breaking time, so I just kept like forcing myself to keep going, and that was a mistake, man. Like I felt like I was going to lose my pinky toe at one point. So
that's deflating when you go, oh, it'll get better, and it never does. They
almost got worse.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like it was like one issue after the next, and it was pretty bad, dude. So yeah, by far this is the most disappointing shoe I've ever played in since the ZigTech, and that's pretty f***ed up because the ZigTechs are whack.
Yeah. So. Well, you know, I mean, that's a bummer because to me they're two underdogs in the performing sneaker world. You got Under Armour and you got Li Ning right now. Who doesn't root for the underdog? Just like you said, it reminds you of being a kid with the raw materials and the good quality. I mean, everybody wants that. Everybody complains about the quality, and Li Ning has that on lock. It's just they gotta fine-tune their performance to make a good all-around product, because that's what Jordan was. It had the quality back in the day, and it performed well on court. That's what you gotta do. You can't have one or the other. To be a absolute stunner on court and off court, you have to have both things.
Yeah, today people are not that stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, plain and simple, it's got to have everything. Otherwise, it's not gonna fly with consumers.
Absolutely.
Why would you spend $150 on this that you can only wear off court when you can legitimately buy a retro, even though they are more and they're less quality most of the time? But you can buy a retro for what do they retail at now? 180, 185,
185,
something like that. Like a pair of 13s, I could rock those on or off court.
Absolutely.
No problem. And if I'm a kid and I get one pair of shoes per year, it's not going to be this one.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
and it's a bummer because they have a huge opportunity. I like the white colorway, the overtones.
Oh yeah.
I don't like them enough to really, you know, feel like dropping that cash on them right now, just because.
If they performed well, would that sway you?
Of course, because that's the thing, is that I have more respect for a shoe that performs really well, so I'll want to wear it off court when I'm done because I liked it that much.
Absolutely.
Like the LeBron 12. The LeBron 12, I legitimately was like, I don't even like the way that those look.
Yeah.
But I loved how they played for some reason, and it makes me want to wear that shoe off court.
For me, the most disappointing performance shoe of the year wasn't necessarily a bad shoe, but it's the Rose 5. Reasons being is because it was really hyped up. I mean, the hashtag Boost changes everything. We could not wait to see Boost go on the hardwood.
Do you feel that we hyped it up, like as people, because we like Boost that much, or do you feel it was a marketing thing that Adidas hyped it up?
I think it's a little bit of both. For me, I definitely hyped it up. I
hyped the shit out of those in my own head.
I told everyone around me, they go, hey, Jaren, what shoe should I get? I said, just wait for the Rose 5. Trust me. Because for me, if you guys follow my channel, you know the Rose line is my favorite line to play in. The 2.5 is one of my favorite basketball sneakers to play in all time. I really like how the 3 came out. The 4 was disappointing only because...
I like that one. I like the 4.
No, it's good, but only because he got injured. And that hurt a lot because, as you know... when a player's not wearing their sneaker on court, it does affect. Yeah, so like LeBron last year, and so but the Rose 5, I was so excited because not only was Boost coming onto the Rose line, but Rose was actually back, and he was gonna be playing in them, and I was gonna be like, feel like I was Derrick Rose on the court, and you know, it just kind of it didn't hit me, and it didn't change everything like Adidas said it would. It was a little too firm for me. I would like to see it unleashed a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I know it's a slippery slope because Boost is unstable and you have to find a way to make it stable. But I trust Adidas. And we're going to get to our most anticipated sneaker later. But I think that the Rose 5 is more of a building block than an actual...
it's a nice stepping stone in the right direction.
Definitely a nice stepping stone. But as it sits right now, I'm not going to put it in the pantheon of... signature sneakers, you know, it's sitting right outside of it.
But that black ice colorway, that Chicago ice.
Exactly, that's another problem that I have though.
Actually, yeah, the material choices.
The material choices, when the Rose 5 released, they came out with the L Train colorway, and that material, it literally hurt my foot during hard stops and cuts.
You ain't the only one.
I know, and then so when you see the black ice colorway with that super soft fabric upper, you go, why didn't this release first? It's just kind of disappointing from a lot of different angles, but that still doesn't mean it's a terrible sneaker.
No, not terrible at all. Definitely lackluster.
Absolutely.
So, disappointing.
Yeah, but, you know, these companies have a chance next year to fix the mistakes that they made this year. So, hopefully Li Ning could understand that you need both sides of the coin, performance and off-court appeal. And hopefully Adidas finds out how to really unleash that Boost cushion setup.
I don't know if this is a question that you've already prepared, but overall, how do you feel this year stacks up against last year? Last year I feel like was pretty beastly overall.
Yeah.
There's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
So this year I felt like it was a pretty big hit or miss.
You know, there's a lot I like from this year, and I'm just going to say that I like this year better than last year because we have even more variety.
True.
You know, you had Under Armour really coming out on top with not only signing Steph Curry, but kind of almost prying away Kevin Durant from Nike.
That was a big...
And that was a huge thing,
deal.
and we're going to get to that later. But just like the overall variety, I think people's eyes are getting opened up a lot more. I think Li Ning's exposure is even more, even though they kind of sputtered out with the Wade 3. But Under Armour's out. More people are getting interested in Peak. And, you know, people are questioning Anta a lot more nowadays in the comment section. You got people getting smarter, and with that comes more exposure to all these small companies that deserve to get credited for the work that they put in.
Very true. All right, so basically WearTesters is very performance-oriented, but we do like other things as well. So what is your favorite release, not including performance, of the year?
All right, for me, this is... no doubt my favorite release of the year even performance-wise. So, it is the Lance Mountain times Jordan times Nike SB. That's a lot of times, but these are definitely rocking to the third power because this is one of the most unique releases that I can remember in a very, very long time. And it's a perfect blend of uniqueness, something we've never seen before, and nostalgia because it's the Jordan 1, which is my second favorite silhouette in the Jordan line of all time. And it combines two of the most iconic colorways of the Jordan 1.
I'm actually still jealous because I wanted that royal pair, man.
You want these ones?
I wanted to do that and then scrape off all the black and white paint.
Yeah, I mean, just so unique with the paint, the paint over the shoe, and when you skateboard, it scrapes off. I have yet to skate in mine, but mark my words, I will. I just have a skateboard with no wheels or trucks on it. But the fact that they put this on the band one and the royal one, that's crazy. I mean, those are the two hands down most iconic Jordan 1 colorways.
Just to throw it back to back in the day when these joints would sit on shelves. They were a high selling shoe, but then they oversaturated the hell out of them.
Yep.
To where they went on sale for like $20.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I mean, so skaters, being the cheapskates that they are,
cheapskates.
Yeah, no pun intended. But you know, they'd grab these things and they'd thrash them.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And the whole mismatch theme where you had to get one blue and one red one. For me, being a skater growing up, I had two different pairs of Vans because my flick foot was a lot more beat up than my lazy foot. So, I mean, just an overall great release, and the way that they marketed it was great. The video bringing Lance Mountain in there, explaining to us what the Jordan 1 means for the skating community, because for us it's all about how Jordan was on the basketball court and how it relates to basketball, but people forget that Jordan is just an overall cultural phenomenon, off court, on court, and in the skateboarding community.
To be like Mike goes across all sports.
Absolutely. So that's my favorite release of the year. I'm so happy that I got both pairs, and I'm gonna put these away because Chris is getting a little wet.
Yeah,
so,
get out of my house.
Yeah.
So for me, I got to throw it back quite a ways, back to my high school days. The Jordan Team 1. This is a super slept on shoe. The materials that they use on this particular pair is pretty bad, but they actually have this this gray colorway. This was one of my favorite, like of the newer colorways, because this, when the shoe retroed back in I think 04 or something like that, this was one of the colors that they dropped, and I always wanted a pair. But this colorway has a lot better materials than this guy, but this colorway is like 10 times better than everything. I'm still pissed that they didn't release the reverse colorway. With the black stripe and the white upper. And speaking of mismatched shoes, this shoe is the shoe that I first saw. Well, this and the 11 low IEs back in '96. Those are the two shoes that people would rock mismatched. They think that they were fly back then, and it was never cool. Just to
not cool.
Yeah, it was never cool. But people would rock this pair, and then their homie would buy the other colorway, the reverse one, and then they'd swap shoes. I don't know why, but you know, for whatever reason, they do that, and they think that they were cool and shit. And you know, it's whack still, like right now, even when I think about it, like those guys are chumps. But
I could just picture that, those mismatched shoes with those weird jerseys where it's half home, half away.
I don't even remember when they came out with that, but that was a dumbass idea.
That was just not a good look. Not a good look.
Not everything about the 90s was awesome. But this for me, this is just one of them. I can go through, I can make a list just of shoes, and kind of like my performance list, it would change up. I love the black infrared 6s, this sport blue, September blue, whatever they're called, powder blue 10s. They dropped some real classic kicks this year, and but this one for sure is one of my favorites, and it's still a sleeper to this day. Okay, so all year round, people always joking about hype beasts and, you know, shit like that, and that's fine and dandy and all that stuff, but let's be honest, everybody's a hype beast about something, right?
Absolutely.
So, in your opinion, what was the shoe that you were most beasting about?
Personally?
Yeah.
For me, I guess, personally, I really was interested in the championship pack, the 6s.
The championship pack?
Yeah, it had the ring on it.
The champagne and cigars?
Yes.
What?
Because it had the ring on it. And I was like, whoa, that's so cool. So I got I tried to get both.
That ring looked like it came out of a 50-cent machine at the mall.
But I never seen anything like that before. It had a Jordan Jumpman championship ring, lace lock. I mean, that was crazy. I didn't like the glow-in-the-dark aspect. I ended up with the champagnes and not the cigars. But I thought that release was going to be really cool. But when you get it, you're just kind of like, these are kind of corny. And I've actually just took the ring off of both pairs and tried to put them on other pairs. Hasn't really quite worked out for me because it just looks weird.
You still have the shoe?
I still have the champagnes, yes.
Really?
And my friend wants to buy them for me, but I'm like, can I keep the rings? And he says no. So that's holding up the deal. So if you're watching this, I want to keep the rings. You can buy them without the rings, but I want to keep the rings because that is my favorite part of the shoe.
Don't let me get a hold of that shoe. I'll throw that shit right out the window. I think that those are whack.
I thought they were going to look better in person, but they look the same. They actually probably look better in the pictures.
No, they don't look good in pictures either.
Well, have you seen anyone wearing it?
No, and
that's exactly my point.
They're whack.
People get it and they're like, I don't want to wear this. But they sold out.
That is a shoe, though. That for me, that feels like a collector's shoe. That doesn't feel like a shoe. You know what I mean?
True. It does feel like you put it in a glass case, and it's very nostalgic because when Jordan won championships, champagne and his iconic cigar moments. I mean, when he was playing the piano while smoking a cigar, I mean, that's what you remember as a kid. And so that, I agree with that. It is definitely a collector's piece. You don't really wear it.
My thing, I witnessed the championships and I remember them clearly. I don't need a shoe to remind me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can go dig through a box and find my VCR because every year they'd put out the year end of, the championship run.
The Unstoppables.
That's my favorite one, man.
Those are so epic.
72 and 10, man.
Oh.
See, why don't you put out a shoe like that?
Yeah. So there were a lot of stories in 2014, but what was the biggest story of 2014?
Kim Kardashian's ass.
The biggest story, in my opinion, was Under Armour's pursuit of Kevin Durant.
Was LeBron this year? Was that this year?
What was that?
When he re-signed with the Cleveland, with the Cavs? Was that this season?
Yeah.
So does that count?
That could definitely count.
Because I think that's some bull.
I think most people's problem with the LeBron situation is you could kind of... When LeBron... I think he has an agenda.
He's a predictable movie.
Yeah, I think he knows what he wants to do, and you could sense it from a mile away. Tell me not in Game 3 of the NBA Finals you didn't go, you know what, he's probably going to leave.
They gave up.
And exactly, and even before he got to Miami, when he lost against the Celtics in Game 6, and he took off his jersey in the tunnel, you're like, he's out of there. And I think that's people's biggest problem is that we're so used to, Michael and even Kobe to a certain extent, just absolutely powering through to the very, very last minute, just not giving up. But with LeBron, you could kind of sense that it looks like he's giving up.
That was one of the worst finals I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Don't tell anyone from San Antonio that.
No, that's the thing. Not to discredit San Antonio because they did their thing.
Yeah.
Tony Parker is one of the best point guards ever. And Tim Duncan, one of the best,
legendary,
if not the best,
legendary.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you've got LeBron, you got the king. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know, man. On paper, that Miami Heat team looked unbeatable.
It really comes down to talent and who's got the ball in their hands. And when LeBron is the king, the best NBA basketball player on the floor...
I actually disagree with that.
Well, that's the overall consensus.
I do feel like basketball is a huge strategy game.
At the last second...
At the last second especially. Whoever is the smartest with the ball will win.
So Jordan's push-off was strategic. Phil set that up.
No, that's Jordan being smart as hell.
Okay.
Catching his dude off guard and being like...
Yeah. Could you see LeBron pulling that kind of move in the finals? We haven't seen...
LeBron doesn't have no moves. Everybody's going to thumbs this video down now.
Well,
I said that LeBron has no moves. He's got one dunk. He's got one shot. He's kind of got a post game. Kind of.
Yeah, but he only does it when he wants to.
He should be doing that all the damn time.
Yeah, and since he slimmed down this season, there's a whole big deal about how LeBron slimmed down. He ate no carbs or whatever. But you can't really go into posts like that.
Well, he's already a big guy.
True.
So him slimming down is reducing unnecessary weight.
Maybe he's like, well, you know, the East is so weak, I don't need all this weight.
The East is pretty weak.
The East is terrible.
They should eat more pizza.
The whole KD and Under Armour and Nike thing, I mean, it's a true David and Goliath moment, right? You have Nike. They absolutely blow sales out of the water compared to any sportswear company. And you had Under Armour almost prime away.
But like you said, like how you said that LeBron's predictable in a sense, I feel like KD's the same way.
Really?
KD is ridiculously notorious as far as his loyalty is concerned. We're talking about the first people that gave him a shot was Nike. You know what I'm saying? So he knows, and we all know that he's got more than enough money with them.
Right.
To where, yeah, what was it, 130 mil? Is that what it was?
No way, it was 320.
Okay, so 320, that's a load of money.
Yeah, Nike gave him 325, I believe, to match.
Which is not really cool of Nike. And don't sit here and be like, yo, Nike, like, big ups Nike for that, because Nike's got plenty of money,
yeah,
guys.
that was in the moment. I truly felt like, ooh, is Nike gonna match? But in retrospect, it's like, of course they're gonna match. I mean, they can afford it, and you know, now them bringing in Kyrie, you know, there's this big discussion about, you know, Kyrie's replacing Kobe, and it's like, no. KD is that second guy to me now. He's the second guy.
You hold him over LeBron?
So you're saying Kobe's first?
Kobe is first.
Well, all the sales point to LeBron's first. And I don't know if those numbers are true, but every year...
Didn't KD outsell LeBron last year?
That was a rumor.
No, that was not a rumor.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that was a fact.
Because...
the KD 6 outsold the LeBron 11.
And that goes back to how LeBron wasn't wearing the 11 and that affects...
No, I don't care about that.
You don't?
No. I don't care who wore them.
It was official that KD 6 outsold the 11.
Yeah.
I thought that was a rumor.
Now, what would be more interesting now is to find out if the KD 7 versus the LeBron 12, which one is the heavier hitter, because KD hasn't been wearing his 7.
That is very interesting.
So
will he eventually wear the 7?
I don't know. Supposedly, they're fine-tuning a pair for him because now he has to wear orthotics with the issue that he had because he had
fracture.
Yeah, he had fractured his foot. So we'll see I'd give them till the end of All-Star Weekend or during All-Star Weekend is when he should debut the thing. But at the end of the year, it'll be interesting to see if the tables have turned on that.
Even then, KD is not getting the heat that LeBron was getting for not wearing his sneaker. Some people are upset about it, but when LeBron wasn't wearing the sneaker, everyone freaked out. They're like, why is he not wearing the 11?
But I think it's because marketing hyped up that shoe. It's the same thing why we can't comfortably wear the Rose 5.
Yeah. True. Very true.
So I think it's one of those things where I think that this is the rise and fall of any sneaker brand right now is that they rely too much on marketing and storytelling instead of just putting out good products.
Jordan is really good at that. Really, you don't know much about the 29 until the press conference, till they want you to know about it. With the retro lines, it's constantly storytelling, going back to heritage, nostalgia. That's what sells that brand. But then with their new shoe, there's nothing iconic about that. It's not tied in directly with him and his legacy, and you know, it's just a straight performance beast. So I think that brands need to do that more. Yeah, and just give us a good product. Definitely, and stop telling us that everything's changing. You know what I'm saying? Like, just let us decide for ourselves, because I think that's the number one thing, especially with kids, and we're to blame for it. I wouldn't say my generation, but probably the generation before us, the older kids that wore the Nikes back in the day, because as soon as they saw the Air Jordan 1, you know, it's got to be the shoes. They make you fly. Yeah. And I mean, everybody believed it back then. So everybody. I remember when I first laced up a pair. The shoes. Yeah, I was almost touching that. And when I was a kid, I thought wearing the Answer 4s was gonna make me
give you like that crossover
a beast. Yeah, doesn't work like that. You got to put it into work. But exactly. I agree. And do you think Adidas kind of had the Rose return as a little bit of a crutch? Like, hey, worst case scenario, Rose is going to be playing in this, so we got that.
I think that we saw that be a huge flop with the 4 because they were. He was coming back.
What was the slogan?
There was a hashtag too.
There was a hashtag. Adidas is crazy with the hashtags. The return, I think. Hashtag the return. Yeah. And yeah, you had Rose doing all the crossovers in the commercial. Like, I was holding my breath. Like, dude.
They had so much going on with that, and I mean, it was a major fail.
Yeah.
All right. So every year, there's always something that you're really looking forward to. As far as performance goes, just off top, what is the main shoe that is your most anticipated for 2015?
It's the Rose 6. And I talked about the Rose 5 and how we talked about how it's a good building block. And I think the Rose 6 should take that next step. And if it doesn't? If it doesn't, it's going to be the most disappointing model for me again 2 years in a row. And I might have to just let off my expectations. And I might be shooting myself in the foot right now because I'm anticipating the Rose 6. But I really hope Adidas is listening to people like us who wear tested shoe and voice their concerns with it. And not necessarily concerns, but something we want even more from the shoe. Because there's stuff that I like about the Rose 5. Yeah. But I want more. And I hope Adidas can get back to what the Rose line used to be for me, which is my favorite line to play in.
For me, you know, I really don't know. Because I'm trying to think about it. The most anticipated, like off the top, and it's pretty biased because I already got the shoes, the J Crossover 2. I'm not anticipating for like this release for me, like, you know what I mean, like for me to wear it because I've already got them and everything. What I'm anticipating most about that shoe is for people to buy the shoe, play in the shoe, and then tell me what they think, because that is the first shoe that I really had like a pretty good say. Yeah, in the whole production process. Wear testing it from early sample stage to final retail pair or version. And it's one of those weird things where everybody's always like, yo, what would you like in a shoe? That's it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
They really fine-tuned it. I know the process that you had with Brand Black, and I saw 3-4 different versions of the J Crossover 2. And from the first one, I was like, hey, that's dope. Then the second one, third one, and fourth one, incrementally, they fine-tuned it and they made it just an overall nice product. Now, I haven't played in it, but just by holding it, seeing it, and words from Chris, they really fine-tuned it to not just your specifications, but your opinions on how the shoe should perform.
Exactly. And I think it's great because they have a lot of experience with the performance footwear market in general, because they've been in it with so many other brands previously. But they also, one of their best attributes, I think, is the fact that they do listen to an athlete, whatever level the athlete is. Because you have, I mean, this is a signature model for an NBA athlete, right?
Award-winning NBA athlete.
Yeah, 6th man of the year, probably one of the meanest crossovers that anybody's got right now. The dude can shoot from practically half court with his eyes closed
and get fouled
and make it. Yeah. So I mean, we're talking about this dude. This shoe is made for him, and then you have people like me that are just regular, you know, run of the mill. Like you can pick them out of a hat. You know what I mean? Like, and we're all average guys, and they're taking the average guy's opinion with the athlete's opinion, putting that into a shoe that everybody can like. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that will be the most interesting thing to come to retail for me, just to see, because I just want to know what other people think. Yeah. I would love for you to grab a pair, and then you play in them and be like, Chris, this is the most awesome shoe I have ever played in. And then me be like, yo, I had a little part in that. Yeah. And I think that's cool.
Absolutely. And we talked about it earlier about variety, and Brand Black was here this year, but they weren't in full effect with the crossover 2.
They had 3 models if you count.
Exactly.
Because they had their Phantom mid and low, okay, and then they had the Raptor mid and low, and the J Crossover, which was the Raptor with a JC on it.
Exactly.
Right?
So,
and they all had the same tech.
And so coming forward to 2015, what I see from them on the horizon, I'm really liking what I'm seeing.
That's one of the biggest differences from point A to point B that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, you can see, like, if you look at the lineage of Air Jordans, like, you can see constant evolution. Same with the KD line, the LeBron line, all that stuff. But none of them have been super drastic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, where, like, it's, like, a completely different everything. Yeah. And, like, especially with a new brand, typically what they'll do is they'll save money. Big brands do this all the time. Nike's notorious for it. Where they'll come out with a shoe, and then they'll come out with another version of it and use the same exact tooling because it's already made. Mm-hmm. And so they save on that production cost.
Right.
And then they just kind of change the upper a little bit, small redesign.
Right.
It's the 0.5 series with Adidas that I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
Where they don't do anything to the shoe. They just kind of turn it inside out.
Yeah.
And they tell you it's a brand new shoe, and like everybody believes them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it's not a different shoe at all. And that's what I was expecting Brand Black to do with the J Crossover 1 to the J Crossover 2.
Not at all.
They didn't do that. They completely scrapped the one, and then they said, let's make an even better shoe. And then, I mean, that's crazy. For a brand new brand to use a knitted upper.
Yeah. That's
brand new tech.
Yeah.
Like, not brand new, but in the basketball world, it's pretty new.
Yeah.
We have the Kobe 9. That's the only one.
And it's not cheap. I mean, that's why the Jordan 29 is $225.
And on top of that, these guys charge $140 for the J Crossover 1. And guess what the J Crossover 2 is going to retail for? $140.
Yeah. And you can't name, besides Kyrie, you can't name a Nike signature that costs $140.
Look. Anybody, Lillard, all of these guys, Wall, their new shoes are coming out. These are next generation athletes.
Yes.
So they're marketing these shoes to that next generation. Mm-hmm. How many of these next gen players have jobs right now? None of them.
None.
So the only shoe that their mom and dad's going to say, fine, we'll buy it for you, is a $100 shoe.
Exactly.
Next year, they're going to increase it $5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the tech in those shoes that you had just mentioned
is below basic.
Doesn't compare to
it's outdated.
J Crossover 2. And what I really like from Brand Black is they're making a name for themselves. They don't rely on corny design things, really loud colorways to just kind of stand out. Hey, look, this is different. Their colorways are clean. They use good tech. We talked about the woven upper and that blue bottom, which is one thing that I think a company needs is the signature thing. You got Nike with the swoosh, you got Adidas with the stripes. Brand Black has that blue bottom that you know, hey, that's a Brand Black shoe.
Speaking of which, I think that's the one thing that Under Armour's missing.
Yes, I agree. I wanted to say something from Under Armour, but they really don't have anything, and that's a bummer. I mean, the clutch fit does stand out, but from afar, you take the logo away, can't really tell.
Their main thing was when you see the dots on the midsole, you know that's Micro G.
They got away from that.
Yeah, and so, you know what I'm saying? And even then, you can't see that from far away.
Yeah, you can't see that afar.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So that was one of the things that the CEO of Nike, Mark Parker or whatever, like he wanted that swoosh, like it's got to be there and big. That's why some of those hyper dunks and things like that were with the big soccer swoosh.
Yeah,
because he wanted you to be able to see it from the top stand, from the floor. You know what I'm saying? So
it's a good plan. I mean,
yeah, and it works. It clearly works. And then, I mean, you're going to see that.
Oh yeah,
that's the most ridiculous version of branding I've ever seen. But hey, it worked. You know what I mean? So,
and I feel like Adidas doesn't take advantage of theirs because everyone knows three stripes. That's Adidas.
Yeah,
and they kind of are hiding it in a way. Like, is it even on the Lillard?
It's on the bottom of the shoe.
It's weird.
Not with the Lillard, but with the rose. And that's kind of weird that you're stepping on the logo.
Yeah, it's just weird. And for me, like, I just want to know what the brand is. You know, that's a great thing that you brought up. From the top of the stands, can you tell what the player is wearing? You can definitely tell when someone's wearing a Jordan or a Nike. And that's just the way it goes. And from the top of the stands, I guarantee you will see those blue bottoms.
Oh yeah, well definitely you'll see, and I've seen still shots of him racing up for a three or whatever, and that's all you see is the blue bottom.
It just stands out, and you go, "What is that?"
Yeah, that's the first thing that you ask when you see that shoe is, "What is it?"
Yep, true that.
So and that's the main thing right there is to build curiosity for the brand. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that's where Under Armour and brands like that they kind of lack a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't have that thing yet. You know what I mean? They have good stuff for players. but they're not drawing in the audience.
Yeah. So the 3 signature models from Nike out of Kobe, LeBron, and Durant, they were all great in 2014. But Chris, what is going to be the best performance model out of that holy trinity? It's talking Kobe, LeBron, and KD. The Kobe 10, the LeBron 13, and the KD 8. Which one's going to come out on top?
I don't know, because if what we've been seeing is the Kobe 10 is the Kobe 10, then no comment.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, is that at least we at least kind of know what the Kobe 10 might be, right? But we are completely clueless because nothing's leaked about the 13
or the 8.
Yeah, so for all we know, like, the KD could be like the best shoe ever, you know.
Which
what I mean?
I think might be the case because
after this mishap.
Well, because
he's not wearing the 7, or no?
No, not because he's not wearing the 7, but because people are talking about Kyrie coming in, right? And that he's taking Kobe's place. I don't think that's the case. I think Kyrie's taking where KD was, and KD is taking Kobe's place as that guy of Nike. They're paying him the big bucks, and the KD 7 was great.
I don't know. I think Kobe's going to turn into Jordan.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so his line's going to continue after retirement. LeBron's going to take that role. Just hear me out. Just because of default, okay?
Right.
And then KD is still going to be that mid, but he's still going to... his performance excels any expectation. So, respect is given... period, because it was earned. And then KD, like I said earlier, or not KD, Kyrie is the new next gen shoe.
Right.
So it's the low budget model until these kids get jobs, and then they're going to increase the price slowly, like they did with the KD.
Which could take 3, maybe even 4, like the KD.
Yeah, it's going to take a few years before it gets up to 150.
Yeah, the KD I think broke the $100 mark on the 5, right?
The 4, well, technically the 4, because it was $95.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
You can't count $5.
Right, tax. I mean, unless you live in Portland or whatever. But yeah, it's going to take a little while for the Kyrie model to become top of the line.
Yeah, but as far as straight up performance, I mean, it's up in the air, because what if they overdo it again with the LeBron?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what if they just put too much stuff in there where it feels like a brick on our feet because we're not, 6'8", you know what I'm saying? And then what if the KD is just kind of, kind of like the 6. The 6 to me was a little bit just kind of whatever.
KD... We talked about how LeBron's shoe I felt was so catered towards him. KD's kind of the same way, where it kind of always fits weird on your foot. And the 7 was the first time where we were like, hey,
that one didn't hurt at all.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It fits very well. But even before that, like the 4 really hurt.
Oh, I couldn't wear those things.
The 3 had cushion problems, and the 6 really just shredded your pinky up. I mean, if you wore that all season, you probably don't have a pinky toe anymore.
The 4, I think I'm still growing my pinky toe back from the 4. It's been that long.
Well, yeah, it was rough. So I think that the KD 7 was really good, and my vote, if I had to choose, would be the KD 8 is going to be the best out of the 3. But it's interesting because we haven't even seen all of what the Kobe 10 might be, because Kobe always comes out with 3 different versions of his sneakers.
Well, that's something where I think Nike needs to tone it down and do away with the Elite series.
Yeah, I agree. They kind of got away from the whole playoff Elite thing where it was add carbon fiber, Kevlar to everything. And full length everything. Yeah,
no, they got away from... They only did that for 2 years. And then this year they started with the Elite, with the Kobe.
Yeah, that was a weird
And release. That's where everything is kind of... You get confused all of a sudden. Yeah, as a consumer.
The first shoe of the line that should drop is the Kobe 9. Not the Kobe 9 Elite. It should be the Kobe 9. And it's still unclear. Out of the EM, the Elite Low, and the Elite High, what is the Kobe 9?
They're all... And that's the weird part.
That's the weird part.
And this is why I say that Kobe is the top, dude.
Yeah.
Okay? The guy's got 3 freaking models.
Yeah. He's the top dude. He's the only dude. I used to serve a lot of tourists from all over the world. And I have a lot of Nike jackets. When I would wear my Nike jackets, whether you're Korean, Japanese, Australian, Chinese, didn't speak any English at all, from Germany, wherever you're from, they recognize the Kobe logo. And that doesn't even have his initials on it. So you can't even guess what it is. You have to know what it is. I had multiple people not even speak English say, "Oh, Kobe." And I go, Yes, but whenever I wear my KDs or my LeBrons, they didn't mention anything.
Yeah.
That's why he's the guy for me. I don't care what anyone says. Kobe is the guy.
I'm not even a fan of the guy. I respect him because he's one of the best players ever. But I'm not a fan of him, LeBron. I'm not even really a KD fan. And, I mean, so unbiased all the way around. And I still say that Kobe's just the top. He's the cream of the crop right now. For as far as brand marketing goes, he's their #1 dude.
Definitely.
I mean, they're even introducing a brand new model.
Yeah.
With the mentality.
The mentality, yeah.
So if that doesn't tell you anything, Kobe's not going nowhere. Actually, speaking of which, the mentality releases January officially. They've released in some stores because I guess they didn't see the label of when not to release it. But that shoe's $100. It plays like the Kobe 8. I've been playing in it for a few days now. That's probably the most surprising signature, even though it's a non-signature.
That's crazy.
$100. Think about it. Full-length lunar, drop-in midsole for $100.
That's
how much is the Hyperdunk?
$140.
And what does it have? Heel and forefoot.
Okay. Yeah.
Only, not full length, right?
Yeah.
And it's got the same materials too. We're talking about Hyperfuse, right? So what's?
Yeah, and it looks like the Kobe 5, the way it looks, even.
Yeah, it looks like the Kobe 5, plays like the Kobe 8, and it retails for less than all of them.
100. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. Go pick up the mentality.
Yeah, so last but not least, the last question of the video is, in 2015, what do you want to see from a sneaker standpoint?
Personally, this doesn't come from a brand perspective. This comes from more of the consumer side. I would like to see them all open their minds a little bit more. Be more willing to try out Peak, Brand Black, Under Armour, Anta, Leaning even. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one.
Yeah, definitely get that feeling.
Yeah, and because I believe in this also. This is where it gets a little like confusing or conflicting, is that you want to stick with what you know. And I completely, like, wholeheartedly feel that. But you get brands that end up being complacent. Nike probably being one of them.
Yeah, definitely on a lot of
Adidas models. Was probably the worst.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you see Sprint Frame and Adiprene or EVA on everything. You know what I mean? And it's like you're just selling the same shoe to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
And even when you don't, trust the product and they innovate, for example, Tech Fit on the Crazy Quick, you see it once and
it's gone.
It doesn't sell.
It's a one and done thing. You know what I mean?
And that was good tech.
Pure Motion.
Pure Motion, great tech.
More people will try more things to make brands try more things.
Yeah.
And then we'd all have a much better time.
Absolutely.
Things would be competitive again. Back in the day, Reebok and Nike were two Goliaths. Reebok is practically extinct.
Yes,
pretty much. I mean? They're the dodo bird of the footwear community.
If it weren't for CrossFit, because I think they own a little bit of CrossFit, they would be done.
I don't even care about CrossFit, dude. Yeah, I played basketball.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? And if they're not in basketball, like I feel like they're trying every once in a while, but it's like some half-ass attempt. What were those shoes that you picked up for me?
The Pump Revenge.
The Shaq Attacks. And it's got a pump tongue. It's got herringbone on here. Visually, this looks like a solid shoe.
Yeah.
Right? I wore these for about 5 minutes. And these have a dual density DMX foam. And DMX foam, I don't know what that stands for, but it dense as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Is what it stands for. It feels awful on foot, dude. And I'm telling you, this makes any Adidas shoe feel like it was made for a god. You know what I mean? Like this cushion it sucks.
Yeah. Let's say someone's calling you out on the blacktop. Chris, Nightwing, one-on-one right now. You look in your bag. You got two shoe options. You got the Zig Tech, J-Walls, and you got that. What are you going with? You playing barefoot?
Maybe. I might just run away.
You might just run away?
I might just run away.
Okay. Well,
so, 3-point contest?
Yeah, 3-point contest.
And then I'll be barefoot.
So, you don't need shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we picked those up at Marshall's.
Yeah, they were $30 or something like that. So, I think they look good, but you know, don't put something out at like, why'd you wasted resources.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You damage the environment if you want to be all tree hugger about it, just to make this shoe so that it could sell for over half off. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't make no sense.
Instead of making a shoe like this using your resources, why don't you take that to the answer line and the question line and refine that and kind of bring... I mean, I know it's still relevant, but bring it back even more.
They've tried with the answer 14. And it's the same freaking foam. Why doesn't Reebok understand? Why doesn't somebody tell them that this foam sucks? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. So, but yeah, so I would like to see more variety from a consumer perspective, so that in turn it will be better variety for us in the long run from all these brands.
Get the competitive juices flowing and
I mean, let's
more innovation.
Yeah, like either bow out or do something better. Like, don't do this. You know what I mean? Like, just be graceful about it and be like, look, we up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Agreed. And my answer kind of ties in with your answer as far as variety, because we can only do so much. We can only say so much about, hey, Brand Black is legit. You should go try them out.
Yeah.
But what really moves product is
action.
Players. And I know Under Armour got Steph Curry. He's a superstar. He's the darling of the league. But in 2015, I want to see Under Armour just grab one more dude. I want to see them get one more guy, because I know Steph Curry is a superstar, but really he's only selling shoes in the Bay Area as far as I can tell. I want to see them grab one more guy. If they could pry away a guy from Nike, and I know that we talked about the KD, but they didn't. Steph was with Nike, and they pried him away. If they could get like a Paul George, who was rumored to have a signature sneaker, but they decided to go with Kyrie, or like an Anthony Davis, an established star. I know they signed Moutier, who's playing in China right now. He's tagged as the next LeBron. He's going to be coming in as a rookie next year, but that's fine. I want to see them grab one more established player just to sell the product more, carry brands, because Curry's going to get his signature model and he's going to be promoting that. Who's going to be promoting the next Clutch Fit or whatever?
Kemba Walker.
Kemba, true. But you got Blake Griffin and Russell Westbrook carrying Jordan brand models. When you think of the Superfly, you kind of think of Blake Griffin, right?
Yeah, but does that turn into sales?
I think so. I think
really?
When people see the Superfly, they go, hey, that's Blake Griffin. Or they see the 29, they say, hey, look, Russell Westbrook.
I don't know. I think that the Superfly goes on sale.
Good point.
So does the 29.
But the Clutch Fit, whenever I talk to someone about that, they call that the Curry. What happens when Curry gets his own sneaker and that doesn't become the Curry anymore? Who's going to sell that? It's just going to be an Under Armour sneaker. No one's going to believe in it. If they get one more guy, imagine if that was the next Paul George shoe. People would pay attention to it more.
Maybe. But if Paul George were to sign with Under Armour and then broke his leg, Under Armour would be done for it.
Well,
wrongfully so.
Yeah, well, you know, there's Anthony Davis, who's being in the MVP conversations. I don't really know anyone right now that's available, because Lillard is getting his own thing and Jay Wall's getting his own thing.
Actually, I think Lillard, every player is after one thing and one thing only. Well, two things. First thing is that they're after his money. The second thing, if they can't get the money, they want a signature.
Yeah.
Period. That's the reason why Curry left Nike. Because Nike was never going to give him a signature.
Which strengthens my case for Paul George. Because remember, it was Paul George or Kyrie. Who's getting that signature? I don't think that
Paul George needs a signature.
But he wants one.
I want a signature. But are you going to give me one?
Well, you know, if Under Armour were willing to give you one, I think Paul George would definitely take that offer.
Still, I think what they need is they're building their brand organically. Which is they're starting at the high school and college level.
Yes.
And these kids are growing up with Under Armour, and this is something it's a transition. It's going to take a while. And they're growing up with Under Armour, so by the time they're in the league, they're going to want to stick with what they know.
Right.
So there's that. You got all of these guys like Swaggy P and all these other dudes that just want to wear retros shit.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, they're sticking with what they know.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. So I don't think necessarily it's a player thing anymore. I think that it needs to be put on their feet.
Right.
You need to try it, because before you ever wore anything with Michael G, you didn't know no better.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know?
And people forget that Jordan wore Adidas all the way up until the NBA. And he wanted to sign with Adidas.
That's what I was going to say, though, is that Lillard should have went with Under Armour.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, what is he going to get over at Adidas? He's going to get a basic shoe with basic tech.
Yeah.
And then all of his fans are going to get the basic shoe with the basic tech.
Yeah.
When they could have gotten substantial tech for basic price with Under Armour.
And I think the argument, when you have lower price models like that, the player always says, I remember when I was a kid and I couldn't afford, so I want my shoe to be lower priced.
That's the number one thing. If you ever hear a player say that, the legitimate translation of that is that they are targeting this towards kids.
Yeah. With
no money. As soon as you have money, as soon as you're not a kid no more, you got a job, guess what? You're going to be paying $150.
Exactly. So, and Rose, he wore Adidas in college and in high school. And now where is he? With Adidas. So I see what you're saying with the growing it organically, and 5 and 10 years from now, it'll be different. But I would like to see some guy just inject Under Armour.
That's how Nike grew.
Yes.
They were sitting out there kicking out shoes to college runners.
But then Michael Jordan literally injected them.
Hey, there is never, ever going to be another athlete that does that again.
True.
Because all of the athletes that we have now are all inspired by him.
Yeah. If you are in the NBA, you're living in the shadow of Michael Jordan.
Unfortunately. And that's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There will never be another.
Never.
There won't be. There will be. You'll grow up with LeBron, and you'll be a fan of LeBron or Kobe, and when they retire, you're gonna want to put their shoes in cases and things like that. But there's not going to be a generational, I think, continuation where my kids are going to want to wear LeBron's shoes.
Yeah. No.
I think that my kids are still going to want to wear Jordans.
Absolutely. And if it weren't for Jordan, we might not even be in front of this camera right now.
If it wasn't for Jordan, we wouldn't be.
Yeah, so there'll never be another Michael, and that's kind of the reason why we're here. So,
all right, guys. So that is pretty much our year-end review. This is our thoughts. I know that this was a long video, but this is like you can tell basically by our thoughts. We're not brand prejudice or anything like that. We have a legitimate want for all these brands to be successful, but we also want everybody that buys the brands to not just buy the shoe, but to also enjoy it. You know what I mean? So it's something where we want to see everybody push the envelope to what they give us, because why should we constantly pay X amount of money, right?
Right.
For trash. So hopefully this kind of gets you into our brains a little bit, lets you know kind of what we think, how we feel throughout the year, because whether we play in a shoe that we're really liking or a shoe that we're really not liking, everything starts off on a level playing field, which is that we want it to be the best of the best. We're always excited to play in the next shoe. So thank you guys for rocking with us all throughout the year, and we can't wait till 2015 and see what happens.
Absolutely. And let us know what you guys think. Answer the questions we asked ourselves here today in the comment section below.
I'll list all the questions that we just answered, and then you guys could, talk back to us in the comment section and kind of leave us your thoughts on each one of these things. And that would be pretty fun to see who gets that.
Be nice, though.
Haters gonna hate, because, like I said, as soon as I said that LeBron's got no moves.
Oh.
So I know that people are gonna hate, but
it was white noise at the end of that. They were just typing right now.
Right? They weren't even letting me finish.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have these 4 WearTesters keychains, which it's just a front and back thing, and I'll just pick 4 random people that leave comments. I'll contact you and get your shipping information, and I'll send you out one just because And yeah, so let us know what your thoughts are, and thank you guys for watching. Thanks for liking the video. If you want to subscribe to Jaren's channel, you can. Link is going to be in the description box below. And until next year, guys, have a good one.
Happy New Year.